What's up guys, it's Dave Marshall with the RC Air Marshal YouTube channel, and in this video series we're going to help change your RC life by going over all of the different features and functions of the all-new Spektrum NX Series Transmitters. As with all of our videos, everything that you see in the video is available in the links in the description. Those are affiliate links, and when you use those, it pays a small commission back to the channel, and we really appreciate your support. If you like the videos that we're putting out here on the RC Air Marshal YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on so you never miss another video. Now let's get to today's tutorial. What's up guys, in today's tutorial we're going to be taking a look at the telemetry functions of the NX Series transmitters. Now a couple of things that you'll notice right out of the gate when we're using a telemetry based receiver like we have in the F16 80mm that we are bound to right now. We can see the signal strength from the receiver, and we can also see a smart logo up here at the top of the screen, which signifies that we are getting all of the smart telemetry as well. And if we scroll past the monitor, just from the main screen, we can scroll past the monitor and into our flight log. It will show our min-max values, and it just shows several different things as we scroll through the different screens that are available to us when we are looking at a telemetry-based receiver. Now to get to the telemetry menu where we can customize what we see, we would simply click the scroll wheel and scroll down until we get to the telemetry menu. We'll click the scroll wheel again to enter into the menu. All right, once we're in the telemetry menu, you'll see an auto config setting where we can basically tell the transmitter to automatically go through and look for any telemetry based signals coming from the receiver and set up all of the pages for us. Now what each one of these numbers represents is one of the pages that we were scrolling through back from the main screen. As we scroll to the right, all of these different items showed up as part of those pages. So our receiver voltage, our flight log, and our smart battery configuration. Now auto config, like I was saying, it will automatically attempt to configure all of the different telemetry values that it sees coming in. So we can go ahead and try to do that now and see if anything changes. We'll go ahead and activate the auto config. After doing the auto config, you can see we have a few more things that are populated in here now. We've got the smart battery, smart ESC, G-forces, and gyroscope. So let's go back out to our main page and see what that looks like now. So now that we're back on the main page, we'll just scroll to the right. All right, and we can see our smart ESC minimum and max values. That was not there before. We can see our ESC status with the battery gauge. Here we've got our battery info that we were able to see before. We can see all of our cell data. And anytime you're plugged into one of the AS3X enabled receivers, you're always going to have the AS3X settings as well as our safe limits when you have safe enabled. And then that last one is our avian programming when you've got an avian ESC. You can see how setting up different things within the telemetry pages adds those screens to your telemetry data as you scroll through. So now that we've done the auto configuration, let's take a look at some of the things that we can get to when we dig a little deeper into the settings for each one of these individual screens. So we can click on where it says Smart Battery, and then just click it again, and it will bring us over into this area where we can either set up that display as either inhibited or active, and we want it to be active so we can see that as we scroll through the different telemetry screens from our main menu or from our main screen. Then we can also set up a startup voltage when you have a smart battery attached. This is telling it what the minimum voltage should be to consider this battery safe for flight. So if the startup voltage is less than 4.1 volts per cell, it will have an alarm that will pop up on the screen. So here you can see we can adjust those values to as low or high as we would like them. We'll leave the startup voltage at 4.1, and we want that overcharge. I want that to be 4.2 volts per cell, and we can have an imbalance maximum millivolts. So if there's a imbalance of greater than 200 millivolts on that battery between the cells, it will also give us a warning. Now that's for the smart battery. We're not going to go through each one of these. Just keep in mind that each telemetry type that you can put on one of the pages has its own values that we can go through and adjust. Let's take a look at Smart ESC. We want that display to be active. Total cells right now is 6. We can get low voltage alarms at 3.6 volts per cell. We can actually change that if we wanted it to alarm at, say, 3.5 volts per cell, wherever we want that alarm to be. Now that is one way that we can have the telemetry there, where it will start yelling at us in the event that we go below a certain cell voltage. So technically, running this alarm would make it where you no longer have to have a timer, but I still like to have a timer set on my battery just to make sure that I don't go over, say, 3 minutes of flight when I'm flying a jet. I still depend on that timer, to keep me honest, but you could use this and have it create a tone. The other thing that we can do is we can also have voices and vibrations, tones and vibrations, just vibrations. Whatever the case is, however you want that alarm established, we can use the low voltage alarm to tell us when the battery's getting low. It is very effective, but again, I still like the timers because, I'm an old timer, I'm old school like that. But I have this turned on as well. So in the event that I decide to go over my timer, I've still got that as a nice backup to really let me know, like, hey, it's time to land. I've got the amps inhibited, but we could set up a max current. This is a 100 amp ESC. I could tell it, if we go over, say, 115 amps to sound an alarm, but we'll go ahead and leave that inhibited. We can also set up high temperature alarms. Now here we can tell it how many poles are in the motor, and once we tell it how many poles are in the motor, it can give us a more effective RPM. And down here we would have a ratio if we were running like a gearbox, but typically we're running 1-to-1, so we don't need to mess with that. Under status reports, we could have the transmitter do a voice alert to give us a status report of the ESC every 60 seconds. And under warning reports, anything that is in a warning state, it would report that as well. We could have that every 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or every minute. Remember, these first 4 screens were automatically populated. Let's go to screen 5 where it says empty and see some of the types of items that we can have included on our telemetry screens. Now keep in mind with telemetry, when we're running smart telemetry, we have several different things playing in our favor there. We've got a smart battery, we've got a smart ESC, and we have a smart capable receiver. All right, and that all, kind of plays into the smart ecosystem from Spektrum products, right? So if we're running a regular battery, we're not going to see some of the smart battery telemetry that we're getting now. Now, the key element to the smart telemetry, in my opinion, is we get all of that telemetry data from our smart ESC, from our smart battery, without having to have any additional sensors inside the airframe. So we're saving weight and we're saving money by not needing all those additional sensors. If you have specific telemetry data that you're trying to gather that is not supported by smart telemetry, or if you're not running the smart ecosystem and you have a standard telemetry receiver and you're needing to bring in individual sensors, you would bring those in by going to the empty slots and adding them. If it doesn't pick it up in auto configuration, we can add them manually. The way you do that is just click where it says empty on any of the available screens. So right now our available ones are where they say empty between 5 and 9. We would just click there and we can just scroll through the different options. So we can have RPM sensors, voltage sensors, temperature sensors, current sensors, fuel level, power box, airspeed, altitude, vario, turbine, GPS, receiver pack milliamp hours, AS3X, flight pack milliamp hours, Alpha 6. We can have some user-defined options, 6S LiPo-Mon, 14S LiPo monitor, AS6S, multi-cylinder data. Any of those that we want to add, we can just click and it will allow us to add it. All right, so here where we would add our flight pack voltage. This is if you were running an external sensor with a standard LiPo battery. We could come in here and alter the minimum and max values. And the way we can do that, we can either adjust them manually, or we can go down here and tell it what size battery we're running. So if we were running a, say, a 6S airplane, we would change that to 6S, and it will automatically populate the minimum and maximum values that it considers safe for a 6S pack, where it has voltage minimum at 18 volts. I would not depend on that because we really don't want our pack cell voltages to ever go below 3 volts, ever. I prefer something like 3.6 volts to account for a little bit of voltage sag while I'm flying before I get an alarm, which is going to put us at somewhere around 21.6 volts. So we're going to go ahead and adjust that. We actually want that max to be about 25.2 for 6S pack. And we can go here, change the alarms, and then we're all set. And we can either turn on our status reports or our warning reports, depending on what we're looking for. So that's how to change the individual settings for each one of the telemetry types that we can add. Now there are also some global telemetry settings that we can change down here at the bottom. And we can change the display type, we can change the units, and we can change our priority monitor. Now these settings are going to define what we show on our main display. We can either have it in telemetry, where it will only show the telemetry screens on our main display. So when we go back out, we're no longer going to have our main screen that has like our model name and all that stuff on it. We're only going to see our monitor and our telemetry values. Now the next type is main, and in this display type, the only thing we see is the main screen. We can no longer get to the monitor or telemetry or anything like that. With roller, it lets the roller wheel decide what we're going to be looking at. What the auto function does, if we go back out to our main menu, anytime we have the auto enabled, as soon as we activate our timer, whatever the timer trigger may be, whether we have it on a switch or in this case we have it on the throttle, as soon as we enable that timer, it will automatically switch over to our telemetry screens as opposed to our main screens. So let's go ahead and try that now. We're going to go ahead and roll our throttle up. And there you see we've started our timer. And now we've got our timer in the telemetry menu for the flight log. We're actually showing our telemetry data here on the screen. I prefer to just have it on roller, where I can just roll around and see which telemetry screens I want, and then I'll typically just leave it on the main screen while I'm flying. All right, for units, we can either change those from US to metric. And the last one of the settings that you'll see is your priority monitor. We can either inhibit that or have it active. And what that's going to do is it's going to turn on a priority monitor on your telemetry screen. So as we roll over all the way to the right past your avian setup, let's keep rolling to the right, and here we can see our priority monitor. So I believe what this is showing us, I'm not 100% certain, is it is showing us all of the different sensors that it believes are attached to this receiver and the priority in which it's going to pull those. Now, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on exactly what this is telling us, but if you know what it's looking at, leave a comment down below so everybody else can know too, including myself. Now here under File Settings, this is where we would set up our telemetry logging. We can set up custom file names. We can also start up our start trigger. So specific events, we can either let it log all the time by turning it on, or we can tell it something like the throttle stick over 25%. So anytime we have that throttle stick over 25%, it's logging that telemetry data. Now, just like our timers that have one time inhibit enabled yes or no. So once we turn one time to active, as soon as we go over 25% throttle, it's going to start logging, and it's going to continue logging until we shut the logging down. With one time inhibited, it's going to start and stop the log every time we drop the throttle below 25%. Now, something else that you can see up here is we are actually keeping that log data now. It is writing to the SD card. We run it below 25% and the log data stops. When you turn this from enabled no to enabled yes, that is what's going to allow these logs to be taken at all. Telemetry logging is not something that I use a lot, and I am not sure what the input data does. If you are familiar with what the input data does, please leave a comment down below. All right, so that's all there is to the telemetry menus. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comments, or if you have anything to add, please leave those down in the comments as well. All right, guys, that's it for today's tutorial on the NX Series transmitters. Again, if you're looking to buy an NX Series transmitter, please check our links in the description. Those are affiliate links that pay a small commission back to the channel, and we absolutely appreciate your support. And as always, for all the other things that you need to change your RC life, you can always go to rcairmarshal.com, where you'll find affiliate links to all of our affiliate partners. If you have any questions on today's video, be sure to leave those down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer those as soon as I get a chance. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on those notifications. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.